Guys, do you remember when last year Marvel had no releases and people were like, ooh, Marvel is finished. That's the end with Endgame. They have no stories. All they have left is scraps.
With a bunch of scraps!
Fast forward 2021 and Marvel has had one of the best years that they could ever have. They had movies and they had the Disney Plus shows, which is crazy. WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, Wotw, and then Hawkeye. And we had movies like Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. We had Eternals and my favorite SpiderMan No Way Home. We just keep setting records like day after day. Phase 4 began and we saw these characters that we already knew. I mean, Eternals excluded, but with WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or should I say Captain America and the Winter Soldier, Loki to Hawkeye, one of the common things was the upgrade of the suits that these heroes have been wearing or we've seen them wearing, and this time matching almost accurately to their looks in the comic books. And that's what this video is about. They look at the first costumes these heroes wore and their costumes as of now in the MCU. I'm Nerdy Sage, and without getting further into it, let's get to the video. So WandaVision, the first Disney Plus show to come out this year, it had a lot of expectations because people didn't know what these were going to be like. I remember I think Anthony Mackie said in an interview that these were like movies that were shot into series. It is only after watching that you will see the quality and how the plot beats, just like the Marvel movies. And WandaVision took us on a journey with Wanda Maximoff, what happened after Endgame, what she did, what she was doing, and how she was coping with Vision's death. And it was not great, to say the least. And by the end of the series, we get to see Wanda become the Scarlet Witch, confident in herself and her power, and with a new costume matching almost accurately to the comic books, and it was amazing to see. And also from the trailers from Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, you can see that there's been an upgrade on the suits and it looks even sicker. And I can't wait to see her in this movie, what journey she's going to take us again, and how this part of the journey also concludes. Up next, we have Captain America and the Winter Soldier, which Falcon became at the end of the series. Steve Rogers handed him the shield in Endgame, passing on this huge responsibility, which I don't think Steve actually gauged the scope of what he was doing and how this was going to impact the world, because this guy was black. There was no way in hell these people were going to let him take the shield that represents America. Again, at the end of the series, Falcon became Captain America. He got his new threats from Wakanda. When you check the first time he appeared in Captain America the Winter Soldier and now, you can see a huge difference. And I think Anthony Mackie's. We have Loki up next, but honestly, this guy went from wearing these to wearing this. He got huge character development and all that. I mean, this guy murdered people in Avengers, but hey, let's just forget that. He's good now. We have Loki. He's cool. Can't wait for season 2 though. It's gonna be a crazy ride again. Our best archer, Hawkeye. The character who was, I think, the least favorite when it came to the 6 Avengers, the original OGs. But I think he's a cool character. He's great. I mean, for someone who doesn't misses, and he has a lot of trick arrows which are super dangerous. So this Hawkeye been through a lot, lost his best friend, and still has to live every day remembering how Nat just jumped off a cliff, sacrificed herself so that he will not die and he will get to go and see his wife and kids. We got to see more of him. Fantastic, acting from Jeremy Renner and of course Kate Bishop. But one of the major highlights was Hawkeye getting his new comic-like costume from the Avengers movies up till now. This is the first time that he's actually wearing something that is comic book-like. I did like the one he wore in Captain America Civil War. That was sick. If they had that type of style and just in purple, that would have been great. And now to one of the best movies of 2021, the movie that just keeps on breaking records and is now Sony's highest grossing movie ever, SpiderMan No Way Home. I loved the movie. Compared to the previous movies, I think this movie was very visceral. It took Spider-Man to a whole other level of ferocity. This is a movie that you saw Tom Holland's Peter Parker trying to kill someone, and at the end of the movie we saw, I mean, come on, this is like a soft reboot for Tom Holland's Spider-Man to be on his own 2 feet with those Stark help. And at the end we saw him move to a new apartment and make another costume, which is so comic accurate, considering this is the second time he's ever made his own costume. If you check this one, the one he made before, Stark actually gave him the costume to fight in Civil War. I'm excited for the next trilogy in Tom Holland's Spider-Man Peter Parker's journey in the MCU going forward. And lastly, I have Black Widow. I decided to put this at the end of the video because of the timeline issues. You know, this movie comes out shortly after Captain America Civil War, so all the other movies that I mentioned are just in the future, far future. Loki is not even in the timeline. But what a journey Natasha Romanoff has been on in the MCU. She deserved her own movie for a very long time before, you know, this year. I think it's unfortunate that Nat got killed or in the MCU. Don't get me wrong, her death was a meaningful, impactful one in the MCU. She sacrificed herself for the stone, although there could have been different ways where the Avengers could have gotten the Soul Stone, but let's just not get into that. We got to see Black Widow pretty early in the MCU. We got to see her in Iron Man 2. So comparing that, her first costume that she wore to the one she wore in Avengers Endgame, similar, but you know, also a whole lot different, more upgrades and style. So rest in peace, Natasha. I hope after Scarlett Johansson and Disney mended fences, we get to see Nat again. The multiverse is opened. There's endless possibilities. She could return in the MCU, and I think a whole lot of people will be very, very happy to see her again. So that's it for the list. I hope you enjoyed the video. I think next year is going to be pretty amazing for MCU fans, comic book fans as a whole. I think I'll be making another video when Multiverse of Madness drops, Thor Love and Thunder, amongst other movies that are going to also drop, and TV shows that are going to pop up. Let me know in the comments below what was your favorite movie and TV show last year and your anticipated movie and TV show this year. As always, Nerdy Sage here. See me in the next video.